If drinking water is causing you stomach pain, maybe bloating, and it's just not the fact that it's uncomfortable, it could be a red flag that something could be seriously wrong with your water quality. Many people dismiss this discomfort, assuming that it's just a minor issue and it's something unrelated to the water itself. But what if the stomach pain is your body warning you, telling you that something harmful, that there's a contaminant maybe in your water supply? Ignoring this could, lead to severe health problems down the line. Let's dive in today and talk about why this happens and what you need to do to protect you and your family. Now, first off, I'm not a health practitioner, I'm not a doctor, but what I can do is I've had so many clients tell me stories about water, and then we were able to tie their problems to the water and they changed their life. So I could get into a couple different stories for you so that you can actually understand that. The first is, of course, bloating. If you go to travel to Mexico and you've heard of Montezuma's Revenge, there's a bacteria in the water there that actually causes that Montezuma's Revenge. No different than in America, 23 million approximately people get their water from private wells. And by the way, that could be just like a gas station on a highway in the middle of nowhere. They don't have tap water that came from a city. That's probably from a private well. Maybe you live on a private well. Maybe you could have a bacteria in water. What we know is that iron bacteria causes bloating and sour stomach and diarrhea. We know that there's sulfur bacteria that causes that. We know that there are 10% of all wells, which would mean over 2 million people, have coliform in their water. That statistic comes from the Department of Public Health and the EPA. So knowing that it is possible that your water could get something, if you're on a well, could get into your water that's a bacteria like you can find in Mexico, then maybe it's an indicator for you to take a look at what's going on. What we found by talking with some of our clients is that we would hear stories about, my family comes to visit, and then, they always complain of sour stomach and or diarrhea, and then it goes away. But we live here, we don't have a problem. Well, yes, your body gets used to some of those bacteria, not E. coli, but it gets used to some of those bacteria. And so as a result, you might not notice it. Well, let's actually be clear. Sometimes adults can be drinking water with coliform and they get maybe diarrhea, they don't feel well, but the children get really sick. We have a case of the Johansson family where that was the case. The kids kept chronically being sick, going to the emergency room, and the doctors are like, I don't know, let's try this, let's try that. But no one ever said, let's test your water. They called me out of the blue for a different issue. We talked about their issue, and I said, did you ever test your well water for coliform? Every homeowner on a private well should be testing their water every 3 to 6 months for coliform, nitrates, and lead. So that's worthwhile to understand. The state actually says every time the aquifer changes, which is 4 times a year. At a very minimum, we think that you need to do it once a year. Now, that's important if you have a well and there's bacteria, but what happens if you have tap water from the city, right? City adds chlorine to the water, so what kind of problems could that have, right? Well, guess what? We've had many cases where someone is not really feeling well from their water. Now, why would that be? They add chlorine to the water. Well, if you read the side of the bottle of a chlorine bottle, it says, do not ingest. Why? It could make you sick. So we've tested water in different cities, whether it's down in Florida or Chicago, and the levels of chlorine are so high that actually it does cause the stomach problems. Remember, that's acid, right? Here you are having that high level of chlorine in your water, and yet you're drinking it. They also add fluoride to the water, another toxin, and they say that's good for you. So that's debatable whether or not the fluoride is good for you or bad for you. That's not for me to discuss, but it is for this article or this video to discuss what could be causing your problem. Your body is expecting something simple, H2O. Now, they add flocculant to the water when cities add filter the water. By the way, most water municipalities have water treatment plants, not water filtration plants. Let's make sure that's clear. It's water treatment, not water filtration. And in today, the world has evolved, America's evolved to using chloramine in so many people's homes. We've had people that literally the city has transferred from city water, which was chlorine, or chlorine gas to treating their water, to chloramine. Now you ask me, why did they do that? Well, they did it for price, right? They did it to keep their costs down. So it's chlorine and ammonia combined together. Yes, if you are correct, if you said that, hey, I learned in high school that that's explosive, it is, but yet they do that in city water, chloramine, to reduce costs. Also, it allows the chlorine or the disinfectant to last longer as it travels through pipes so that the level stays high, but it's very hard to test for. Now, ammonia, if you just drank ammonia, how do you think that would feel? Probably not so good, right? So chlorine, ammonia, these are chemicals that are in your water. Fluoride, these are chemicals in your water. You know, I like one analogy I would share with clients. I'm like, when they say, well, I like my water, and it's like, okay, well, you know, we talk about it's a water treatment plant, and it's sort of like the Lake Michigan, or you go out to a lake, or you have a river, and the city just takes that glass of water, and then they add a couple drops of chlorine to it, and then hand it to you. Do you want to drink that? You might think twice if you literally watch that process take place. Now, why do they do that? Yes, it's to kill the bacteria in the water so you don't get immediately sick. But you have to ask yourself, does it make sense that those chemicals stay in my water supply when it comes into the home? And your body's looking for one thing, H2O. Not H2O and chlorine, Cl2, not anything else. It's looking for H2O. So then all of a sudden your body's bringing that in. As you consume that water, your body makes that part of you. Remember, you are what you eat and you are what you drink. It's exactly what mommy used to tell us, right? You are what you eat, you are what you drink. So you got to be careful about that. So when you do have this sour stomach, or you have diarrhea regularly, or you have a bloating that's going on, or you just don't feel good, that's a great time to test your water. It's a great time to evaluate your water and see whether or not something's in your water that your body doesn't like. I can't tell you how many people over the years that they would call us, we're the last resort. I mean, we have clients that call us and like, they have all these problems. They're like, you are the guy that will do anything. That's what the word is on the street, that this guy, I will do anything when it comes to water. And it's true. My company is used for EPA cases. That's where communities have high levels of radium in their water. We are monitored by the EPA for those. We've been on cases where people were buying food from a restaurant, and I can't tell you which one, but they were getting sick. So the Department of Health said, you can't just keep chlorinating your well, you have to find a permanent fix because people are getting sick. So they're eating this, it's a Mexican restaurant, and they're getting very, very sick, and it's like, it's not the food, it's actually not the spiciness of the food, it's actually the water. So they're mixing it with that raw water with, obviously, Coca-Cola, and who would think? They're making ice with that water. Oh my God, there was a restaurant in Palatine, I think it was Palatine, Palatine, Illinois, that actually had that as well. They're now closed. But so it's very important for you to consider, like, wait a second, if my body's not responding, let's start isolating things and see if it's your water. And like I said, when we've had clients who came to us and we were the last resort, we had people that were like, oh my God, I'm so glad I can finally drink my water. I'm so glad I can finally shower. We have one lady, she was so hyper allergic to the water that when we tested it, there wasn't anything too spectacular with it. High levels of chlorine, there was rock, there was also fluoride in the water. And she tried everything, and she's like, I just want to invest in a whole house reverse osmosis system. Now, just so you know, that's very expensive, but it does take out fluoride. Lo and behold, we put that in her house. Problem solved. The lady can now shower. She can bathe. And you think that that's not true. I mean, at first, even I was like skeptical. I'm like, really? I need to talk with this lady, this client on the phone. And lo and behold, over and over again, she was been having these problems. So if you are having issues with your water, if you're having health issues and stomach issues, I urge you to start to consider that since you're made of 60, 70% water, your brain is 90% water, that let's take a look at water first. Let's look at the ice cubes, where they're made, what kind of water supply you have. Let's talk about what is the chlorine level, what is the chloramine level, what is the fluoride level in the water. So I urge you to do that water testing. Now, with the water testing, you can tell a professional like me what you want done. So you can look at it, or you can hand me a report. You can say, this is in the water supply, I want it out. And then I can show you after a product is installed that it took it out. So that's how we can isolate and start to uncover why your stomach hurts so much. So that said, as you know, our overall goal is to help you. If you find that this video was helpful, please press like, press share, maybe share it with a friend and family, because everyone you know does drink water. Now, let's get into the solutions real quick. What can you do? Start off with is a water softener. Water softener does take out calcium. Sometimes some people have high levels of rock in their water. Also really good ones to have carbon, and I like catalytic carbon to take out the chloramine and or chlorine in the water. Now, buyer beware. If you're looking online, most companies are using regular carbon, or they say, oh, we use coconut shell carbon. Well, the thing is you're looking for catalytic carbon, because catalytic carbon will take out the ammonia side of the equation as well as the chlorine side. So that's very important. So those two things will help you to begin getting the water a little cleaner. Then the next step to me is getting a reverse osmosis system. That's where the water comes out and it goes through a very specific process to purify the water. And a good company will add minerals back to the water or get you an alkaline, get the alkaline level back a little higher. There's a couple that are on the market, and I want to highlight what you want to look for. You tell me that I want an NSF 58 certified reverse osmosis system. Yes, that's important. I want it made in America. That's important. Maybe even being ISO manufactured, meaning the manufacturer has proven its processes as it manufactures it and documents it all. That might be important to you. So those things are really, really important. NSF stands for National Sanitation Foundation. That means that they threw toxins with water going through the filter, and then they tested it afterwards. And again, that's a nonprofit that is doing independent tests in a laboratory with experts in America, in America, to make sure that we're taking the junk out of the water. Now, just so you know, NSF 58 only means that it's taking out the toxins. It's not necessarily going to take out bacteria. So if you're one of those first people that I was talking to that lives on a private well, a whole different type of system does need to be used for killing coliform. So we can certainly help you explain that. That usually means chlorine injection, and it's a little complicated. We can certainly help you on the phone, but you do want to have enough contact time to kill that bacteria, because the RO system is not certified to take out coliform on a regular basis, because the filter material, the filter itself gets plugged up by that bacteria. That said, I hope that what this video has done for you today is help you discuss about if your stomach does hurt, it might be an indicator that something's wrong. Or, and number two, what you can do, what you need to think about, that there are these things that have been added to the water supply, and you need to say to yourself, do I want those in, or do I want them out of my drinking water? And if you want them out of your drinking water, I hope that what I did for you today is arm you with the information, strong enough information, so that you can go to a professional like me and tell me what you want to do. And lastly, don't forget, get that independent water test done by a EPA certified laboratory to know exactly what's in your water. That would be one of the most critical things to do. Learn what's in your water, and then you can tell me or a professional what you want out of the water. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, you know me, I'm Drew. I'm here to serve you, and I'm all passionate about your health and your pocketbook. Have a great day.